Three, two, one, go. Ernesto, I've learned something while
What
doing
happened?
this. Oh, could you repeat
Yeah,
yourself?
what is that?
I've learned that throughout our process of going through this entire show and talking about these various different subjects we've come up with, it's that I learned that whenever you have a certain perspective on a certain subject, no matter how you look at or how you may perceive you look at, I always manage to come across someone else who has an idea on that subject, and they always manage to turn it on their head and twist it around. You always find that odd? Like let's say, for example, though, you're going outside, you're going to the beach, and you're walking on the beach, you're walking on the warm sand, going out by the water, the always forebodingly cold water, I should mention, and you're just sitting there, you sit there having a good time. It's the beach, it's a good time, it's a social event.
Yeah.
And then you have someone else coming up to you, and they're just sitting on there reading a magazine, and I'm just thinking to myself, okay, why? Why sit there and read a magazine where you can just stare out into the ocean? And I'm just thinking to myself, it's a moment for them. It's a moment for them to be sitting down, relaxing into the sunlight. And I have no idea where the hell I'm going with this analogy. I'm sorry I'm wasting your time. Anyway, welcome back to the Dugtrio podcast. I have no clue where the hell I was going with that. I'm just talking out of my ass by this point. Anyway. But speaking on the topic of talking out of our ass, today we're going to be going on about creepypastas. Now, despite their incredibly notorious reputation of just trying to be deep and meaningful, but just failing in every regards, creepypastas have an interesting history. Would you agree with me, sir?
Yeah, pretty much what creepypastas are these stories that you would appear on like forums like 4chan, Reddit, and pretty much any forum websites and stuff. Pretty much, creepy stories about, some urban legend, something about video games, or just something completely different, There's some good ones and there's really some bad ones, but we're just only going to focus on our favorite ones, pretty much, ones that we think that are just really scary, that really keep us up at night. If we hear one sudden noise, we would be startled so easily.
And that's what we're going to be focused on today. I've already said this, and I'll say this again. Creepypastas have been well notorious, though, for trying to be deep and meaningful. When in reality, though, they just either do not make enough. They do not end up making any sense, or they're just boring to listen to.
But we're not gonna really say the full story. We're just kind of summarize what we think the creepypastas are. Pretty much summarizing a short term. Pretty much, we're not gonna go into full detail about it. But if you want, you could always look up the creepypastas we think are, our favorites, and you could give them a read yourself. Pretty much, you could just Google it, and then it'll be right there.
There you go. And creepypastas on their own, though, aren't just, creepy web stories that you just find online or whatever. They could be a multitude of things out there, whether it be a video, a flash game, a flash movie, though, some sort of picture you find on the internet, a series of short stories. I mean, it's not just directly tied to one thing, as I just found out, though, literally 14 and a half minutes ago, in fact. So I'm still a little behind when it comes down to this subject. So pardon me for my ignorance, though. So without further ado, how about you go right ahead, though, and list off what are your favorite creepypastas, though? So do you want to just say you want to go on, say, a creepypasta you like first, then we'll alternate to me, and then back to you, and so on and so forth?
We could do it like the list we did for the top best and worst video game movie adaptations discussion that we did.
All right. Are these lists in any particular order? Because I was just living off what I enjoyed, but I wasn't ordering them as this is my favorite, this is it.
Well, it could just be anything. We could just kind of say 5 of them that we think are the best, pretty much. I say my 5th one, and then you say your 5th one. I say my 4th one, and on and so forth, pretty much.
All right. So do you want to do the honors and introduce us with your a creepypasta you feel is noteworthy to the audience?
So my number 5 favorite creepypasta is one of those creepypastas that, a subject that I really wouldn't think that it would be really creepy at all. It's a certain company pretty much known for its, fairy tales and characters, about a certain mouse and, these, different dogs and stuff. I'm, of course, talking about Disney. And, when I think of Disney, I'm like, oh, this is like, happy-go-lucky, stories, you would show to your kids, with movies like Aladdin, Lion King, and everything. But this creepypasta is called Abandoned by Disney. And, boy, pretty much the reader is, heard about this abandoned Disneyland water park in the Bahamas and stuff. Pretty much, stating that Disney had blown $30 million into place. Yes, $30 million and stuff. So he goes into investigates pretty much called people claim that, it's just a real ghost town pretty much. That's really haunted and everything. But surprisingly, like when he goes into that water park and stuff, and then he pretty much, explores, around the area. And I think he goes into this one spot known as Mowgli's Palace. Of course, for those who don't know who Mowgli is, he's a character in the Jungle Book where he's abandoned by these different, where his parents get killed by this tiger, and now he's being raised by wolves, pretty much, and other animals and stuff. But he goes into Mowgli's palace and stuff, and he discovers like a basement, and pretty much he goes inside that basement where he finds all these costumes for like for the mascots, pretty much like Donald, Goofy, Meanie, and stuff. And he comes across this, negative suit of like Mickey Mouse, pretty much. If you like, use the negative setting on your Photoshops, pretty much, and then. Like he pretty much went to exit out of the basement, and all of a sudden he hears this strange sound say, "Hey, you want to see my head come off?" And he just the suit just came to life and everything, and then took off his head, and like a lot of like yellow gooey stuff started coming out and stuff. And it's just, and I read that, I'm just like, whoa. I was like, that is freaking creepy as heck and stuff. Like, I'm just like it's something I didn't think Disney would ever do, or like, something people would like make Disney scary, pretty much, after that, and hearing all these other Disney like rumors and pretty much accidental deaths into its theme park, I'm like, yeah, Disney is a strange place indeed.
I mean, we all know its notorious reputation of being a, well, I'll just put a singular quote, evil company.
Yeah, it's pretty much one. Yeah, in creepypastas, you would hear a lot about, like, these companies who just ended up being evil, pretty much, and yeah, you would hear that a lot,
When you were first talking about a creepypasta based on Disney and Mickey Mouse, I had a feeling you were gonna go either one of two routes. The Suicide Mouse route with that incredibly bizarre kind of foreboding video that scares people, or again the negative Mickey Mouse costume, which as soon as you brought up
that was the one.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's the negative Mickey Mouse costume is the one from Abandoned by Disney. Yeah, the Mouse Suicide one, I was debating between those two, but I'm like, I think Abandoned by Disney is the one that pretty much scared me the first time I read it and like watched like, pretty much on YouTube someone read it and stuff, and the way he like pretty much described the whole details of it, I'm just like, whoa. Like, just letting you guys know, yeah, there's a video, I think it's like 30 minutes long, and stuff, but it's really worth the watch, pretty much. But if you just want to read it yourself, then yeah, go ahead, just Google it. There's like a story, pretty much.
Okay, I'll give it a look, because I remember I ended up hearing about I didn't actually read the original story or know much about it, though I do remember the first time I did hear something related to it, though. I believe it was I don't remember what it was called, though, but it was basically It was a Five Nights at Freddy's fan game that was based around that story of negative Mickey Mouse costume. I actually think it was one of the first FNAF games ever
really?
made back when, one of the first FNAF fan games ever made back when FNAF was starting to pick up steam.
Yeah. Oh wow, I didn't know if they did a fan game of like Abandoned by Disney.
Yeah, they
That's weird.
Yeah,
especially in like Five Nights at Freddy type style.
Yeah, and it was I believe it was one of the first fan-made games that ever made a name for itself, though, back when the series was getting big. If I could find a picture of it, though, I'll be sure to link it in the video, though. But yeah, that's where I first heard of it. But I never actually read the story until you just described it right now.
Yeah, it's just one of those that kind of like, kind of sets, like, gives you that, unsettled feeling, pretty much. Like, it turns your stomach. So, yeah.
Okay.
Alrighty, and what is your top 5?
Top 5? Well, personally, at this moment, though, I only listed off 5 creepypastas, though, that were noteworthy to me, not really so much what I would consider my favorite. Though this one I'm about to bring up, though, I do have an interesting and kind of long history with, though. So, without further ado, I guess by default number 5 pick would have to be the Godzilla Nes Creepypasta.
Oh yeah, I heard about this one.
I was about to say this one has had sort of a kind of infamous reputation around the internet, though, due to its surprising length, though, and it surprisingly got a lot of traction around the internet. But I'll give you a basic synopsis for it. It starts off like your typical video game creepypasta. You have your guy. Your guy remembers playing a game. He goes out. He finds the game in a yard sale, or a thrift stop, or a pawn store, or anything non-official. He buys the game. He goes home. He plays the game. Things turn out normal. He plays the game further. Creepy stuff happens. And you can figure out the rest of it.
A lot of those creepypastas. Pretty much, like, there's just so many of those. It's mostly based on, like, video games that somebody finds a cartridge in any of those stores or a yard sale or something like that. They go home, they play the game pretty much, and then just it doesn't turn out so well.
Yeah. But continuing throughout the story, though, I believe the one reason why the story got the traffic it did, though, was that while it starts off pretty cliched for a creepypasta, it goes very much into detail about the events, though, and it really does find interesting ways to... again, a lot of it, though, could be looked at as cliche, though, but it finds interesting ways of connecting its character amongst the game. It's very detailed-oriented, though, and the writer who wrote it, who... I'm trying to remember who the author's name was. I believe it was Cosby de Fab, something like that. The author who wrote it. I think that's his username. Anyway, I feel that the one reason why so many people were intrigued with this was definitely how the story was written, though, since it really finds a way to carry it in. And it was also for the fact that the game, throughout the entire story, the creator leaves supposed ends up leaving screenshots of what's going on. So, thus actually leaving screenshots of what's going on for the game. Like, you see the game, and then you see the crazy stuff happen. The game glitches out. You see the stuff that's not supposed to be in the game. Yada yada yada.
Yeah, and it's one of those. A lot of these creepypastas based on video games. Usually leave out like, oh, he was all covered in blood, but this one didn't have that pretty much. So this one actually is a more unique creepypasta based on a video game. So it's one of those stories that, it'll like literally, once you see the screenshots of it, it'll just like, what the heck? It's fairly long from what I remembered about it, though, and it definitely, I know I've been saying this a lot, but I think did a good job of captivating and keeping people interested. Not so much, though, just for the screenshots and being able to actually see what the player is seeing, since in a lot of these video game creepypastas, though, you just have to kind of you just have to imagine what's going on. But here, you see what the player is seeing. Well, in picture form, yes, but you see what they're experiencing. So you have that feeling of connection, though, to a degree where it kind of makes it kind of in a way puts you in their shoes. It definitely puts that mode of interaction in there. Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Dude, I remember seeing those screenshots. I'm like, yeah, this can't be like someone like photoshopping it or something like that. Even though, yeah, some of these creepypastas aren't, necessarily true, just made up stories or something like that. But some of these creepypastas do leave you thinking, like, is this for real? Like, yeah.
I mean, there's some pretty talented people out there that will do anything they can to make something look creepy. And I swear, I'm not kidding you. Coincidentally enough, I remember seeing a picture of a diglet, just a cute little diglet sticking off the ground, and then you scroll down the picture, and you end up seeing veiny stuff, though, connected to basically hellspawn creatures. There
Oh
are some
god.
very persistent people out there who want to make anything you like fucking disturbing. Wow, that sounded edgy. Case in point, people will do anything they can to scare you out of your socks, just for a scare of anything you're familiar with. I really need to work on my wording right now, but you get the idea of what I'm talking about. Anyway, case in point, I really like the story. The Godzilla Nes Creepypasta is very well made. Lots of props though to the original creator, and and overall, good story. There are a couple other things related to it though, but I feel like we'll be going on way too long about those. So hey, if you want me to talk about it though, go right ahead, speak now. If not, forever hold your peace.
All right.
Okay, so
Alrighty. So my number 4 creepypasta, and this is one where I was all like, oh man, what's like one of those creepypastas that just kind of like just literally just changes my mood pretty much. I had a little difficult time doing this, but I actually found one that kind of, just gives me the creeps. It's called the Russian Sleep Experiment. Pretty much, it's one of those stories that pretty much you would think, it's not for real, but, you don't know, like you literally see stuff that you don't see if you literally try to not sleep for 15 days pretty much. But anyway, pretty much the story goes like this. Russian researchers in the late 1940s kept 5 people awake for 15 days using an experimental gas based on stimulant. And pretty much they were sealed in an environment to carefully monitor their oxygen intake, and so the gas didn't kill them pretty much. So it was this was before closure circuit cameras, so they had only microphones and 5-inch thick glass porthole sized windows into the chamber to monitor them pretty much. Everything was going fine until the 5th day, where pretty much these 5 people pretty much kind of just started hallucinating. I believe one of them had immediately died and everything, and pretty much it just started to see pretty much like weird stuff and everything. And it's one of those stories that whoa, pretty much like holy crap, like it just kind of unsets your stomach. And then I believe there's this one part too, I'm not going to go into, again, I don't want to spoil it, but pretty much one of the the dudes that were the guys who were experimented on pretty much said this really creepy quote. It's just, I don't want to spoil it. You'll have to give it a read pretty much, but it's just one of those creepypastas, well known and everything. And if you look at a list of like top 10 creepypastas, this one will be included, probably top 5 or top maybe 3. But yeah, it's just, oh my god, dude, like that one quote in the ending, something else. But yeah, the Sleep Experiment is top 4 for me.
Well, now I gotta read it. You can't leave me hanging, man. Now I gotta read it.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to keep people hanging.
That's how these things just work. But are you finished though, or are you gonna continue on?
No, I think I'm pretty finished right now. But that's what pretty much I wanted to say. Again, I do want to say the quote, but I just want people to read it.
Okay, gotcha. Trust me, drugs are some crazy stuff. You don't want to get too invested in the wrong kind of stuff, kids.
Yeah, especially that ones that make you freaking say stuff that doesn't come out that you don't usually say. Then yeah.
Oh well. Anyway, I guess for my next choice, though, will have to be Interesting is an interesting one since this one's a series of games that I did not figure out the names till this video right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. All these games come from a developer known as Script Welder, and this includes a series of 2 different series I may add of 3 games. These include the Don't Escape games, Don't Escape 1, 2, and 3, as well as the where was it again? I believe it was Deep Sleep, Deeper Sleep, and Deepest Sleep.
Oh.
So
intense.
So to give a quick synopsis on the Don't Escape games, these ones kind of try to take the whole element of survival horror games where you're stuck in an area and you got to get out, and basically turns it on its head. Because all three of these games stick to their guns to the tile. In Don't Escape, you can't escape. You have to prevent yourself from escaping. And they all involve 3 different synopses. In the first game, you're playing as a main character. I was about to say you're playing as a main character. You're playing as a main character, guys. Okay. Okay. In the first game, the main character you're playing as is a werewolf. Right? You're playing as a werewolf. You're out in the middle of a cavern, and you're just telling yourself, okay, it's about to be a full moon. I'm going to turn into a werewolf. I have to trap myself in this cabin, or a lot of people are gonna die. And that's all you got. That's all you got to do. You got to use all your tools, everything you can find in your surroundings to make sure that you can restrict yourself and trap yourself in the cabin to make sure when the sun goes down and the moon arises that you don't get out as a werewolf and start chopping some head off.
Oh wow.
So I know I tried over-dramatizing that whole synopsis, but yeah, basically, you gotta prevent yourself from escaping in that game.
Oh wow. And
that's a common theme with all these games. The whole theme of Don't Escape really twists the whole idea of survival horror on its head by basically making sure you don't get out and there's no way you do get out. Now moving on to the developer's other series called the Deeper Sleep games. This one, I should probably mention though that I heard about these games through my friend. My friend has a YouTube channel where he plays games, and he let's play all of these individual games. For a second, I thought I heard a wolf howling, but I just realized it was. I could hear your daughter in the background, and for a second, I thought it was a wolf howling.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
Sorry. Anyway. So the Deep Sleep games are pretty simple synopsis. It's your typical dark world. You go to sleep, you enter this dark world. How do you get out of this dark world? No one knows. You just got to play the games. But but I felt what made these dark world games interesting though is. I can't really talk about it very much without spoiling it, but I will just say though is that if you play for the entire series throughout one afternoon, because these games are all short, you can easily beat them within an hour. If you manage to play all these games, these games are incredibly short. You can beat them within an hour. They're very well developed games that do require a lot of thought and experimental and trial and error. You want to get through them. It's not a simple linear path. You gotta think when playing these games. But I will just say, between the events of Deep Sleep and the third game, Deepest Sleep, it has a certain event that really changes yours. Really, I guess I'll just say a certain twist that really changes your perspective on the whole world and how you played it. I'll just say that because I know I can't. It sucks. I really can't talk about this series without spoiling it, though, and it really sucks because I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to say. Like, it's an interesting experience. Just go play it. Go play all the games. Go play the first 3 Don't Escape games, and go play Deeper Sleep. That's all I gotta say. I won't bore you anymore. Just go play the games. They're interesting.
Are you done? Are you done?
Yes, go right ahead, though. I was rambling a lot with that, but case in point, go play the games by Script Builder. They're very well made, and they have an interesting turn on the horror genre, at least in my opinion. So, whatever. But anyway, that's all I gotta say. Your turn.
I might just, I don't know, see some gameplay of it, see how it is and everything. Because it seems interesting. But yeah. But anyway, my number 3 creepypasta, and this is one that it's well known. It's one of those more well-known creepypastas. It's a subject known as lost episodes, pretty much. Lost episode creepypastas are pretty much, it could just be any type of cartoon. It could be like SpongeBob, Mickey Mouse. It could be just any type of animated cartoon of your childhood that turns out that this creepy lost episode that was never aired whatsoever in any type of media, pretty much. And people were pretty interested by these lost episodes that in YouTube they pretty much have like these people pretty much editing videos and trying to make these a reality, pretty much. So yeah, but anyway, this one is actually the more weller known lost episode creepypastas, and I'm of course talking about Squidward's suicide. And
dear.
Everyone knows who Squidward is. He's the character from SpongeBob SquarePants that pretty much gets annoyed by SpongeBob. Pretty much the presence of SpongeBob, pretty much. And he's pretty much an octopus, pretty much, who plays a clarinet, And he lives literally in between, his most hated people in existence. That's Patrick Star and SpongeBob SquarePants.
Now, that's an interesting way to put it. I'm not exactly sure if I would say they're the most hated people, but... think about it, it's pretty accurate.
Yeah, it's Squidward's most hated people in the world, pretty much. Not necessarily saying that, SpongeBob's a great guy, by the way. Patrick is funny as heck. but yeah. But anyway, Squidward's suicide is about this intern in Nickelodeon Studios who got his degree in animation, pretty much. He wasn't paid for it, of course, but most internships are. But it did have some perks beyond education. To adults, it might just seem like a great big one, but most kids at the time would go crazy for it. But yeah, so pretty much him and 2 other people, go inside, Nickelodeon Studios, and then pretty much, they go in this room, and then they just in the theater room, pretty much, and they see this episode, pretty much a new episode of SpongeBob, that hasn't been aired yet, and they're only going to show it to these 3 interns. And of course, sometimes they kind of joke around the title card, pretty much. And what the title card just read Squidward's suicide, and pretty much one of the interns kind of chuckled a little and stuff. But the intern wasn't squinting his eyes like, what? Pretty much. So pretty much this episode is about Squidward getting ready to perform his clarinet, and just a live audience, pretty much, and stuff. So he was pretty much preparing and everything until he heard SpongeBob laughing with Patrick and stuff, and he keeps telling him can you keep it down, I'm practicing over here. And then pretty much just, I think it was something to do with SpongeBob's let me see, while playing a few friends themselves. So pretty much they were laughing outside and kept telling them to keep it down and concerts at night. So SpongeBob says okay and goes to see Sandy with Patrick, pretty much. The bubble splash screen. You know how every time they transition to a new scene, they always do that bubble splash sequence transition?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so pretty much that happens, and we see just and then we see the ending of Squidward's concert, which kind of begins to seem off. So while he's playing a few his clarinet, pretty much, it kind of really just sounds how pretty much Squidward plays his clarinet. He just plays it really bad, but yeah, he never gives up. He keeps playing it even though he plays his clarinet so bad. But pretty much, everyone didn't like it. Everyone started booing at him. And then, kind of cuts to the crowd. And then you see SpongeBob booing too. And that's really rare for SpongeBob to like be booing because, SpongeBob's always there to support his friends and everything. Even though Squidward too, even though he knows like, yeah, Squidward might hate me, but, I do like the guy pretty much. And so then, his eyes turn bloodshot red pretty much. And I'm just like, what? Like, I read that and I'm like, whoa, like bloodshot red in a children's cartoon? Like, whoa. But yeah. But anyway, we cut to the next scene and you just kind of see Squidward in his bed where just no sound at all. Just him crying. No sound whatsoever. And then, like, it kind of cuts to an image of a, okay, I don't want to turn anyone's stomachs, but pretty much it's like an image of a little boy pretty much in the middle of the street just laying there, with his mangled body. And you kind of get the idea. And it cuts back to Squidward, just his eyes were bloodshot red again, crying and crying. He was crying bloody tears. No reference to Castlevania. But anyway, he I guess. And then, like, it showed another image of, this time, of a little girl, pretty much. Mangled body and everything. And you just kind of see a hand, kind of touching like, the guts of that little girl. And it's just, what the heck? And then, pretty much, the interns start to, and everything. They're telling everyone, could you please stop the video, or stop the episode or something. And then, like, I guess it cuts back to Squidward. This time, he's still crying bloody tears and everything. And then, like, this voice just tells him, say, do it. And then Squidward pulls out a shotgun and shoots himself. And I'm just like, what the fuck?
What?
Like,
What?
Like, what?
Why is this? Why do you feel the need to produce this upon the world? Why, Squidward?
Yeah, and like, when I read that, I'm like, just, whoa, that literally just kind of scared me right there. Like, coming from a kids show, I didn't think, they would actually do it, but apparently, yeah. No one knows for sure if this was actually true or not. Of course, there's a couple fan videos pretty much depicting the episode pretty much and stuff. And it's one of those that kind of upset your stomach and, kind of just leaves you like, whoa, like, you would not think like SpongeBob the same ever again.
Well, it's a common theme in a lot of creepypastas I've noticed, to take cute children's cartoons, or take a cute setting though, and then try to give it the scary vibe though by making these creepypastas. I mean, that's the whole reason why Five Nights at Freddy's exists though. It's literally taking a family-friendly pizzeria and adding, animatronics that want to kill you.
Right.
But yeah,
especially kids. A lot of these creepypastas, but this one, well known, and I think it's one of those still that kind of just, like, just hearing about it and watching these fan videos pretty much depicting the episode is just wow.
Especially when it's well animated, or not necessarily well animated, but it's well done. It really pulls you into that. It really pulls you into that. Okay. This was already bad enough when I imagined it.
Yeah, it's just a couple clips of SpongeBob episodes, pretty much trying to depict the episodes. So yeah.
No doubt. Oh.
But yeah, it's just wow. But if you want, give it a read. Stuff. Yeah, just read it on your own. Read it in your own discreet.
I will give it a look when I get the chance to. That is, if I have any time, that is.
Yeah.
Oh.
But anyway, it's, again, one of those great stories. Next, what is your number 3?
Number 3? Okay. This one is sort of interesting, because, well, that's a bad way to put it. Let me restart that intro. Okay, this one I have a sort of unorthodox history with, though, because this one, of all things, though, these creepypastas of all things come from another horror media that isn't really a creepypasta, but it borrows some elements from other creepypastas in it, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think I lost some people by that description. Okay, I'll just say this. Say it like this. Throughout the past few months, I've been playing this game called Nightmare of the Snow on my friend's channel. I've been I've just been recording the footage, watching it over with some friends, making fun of it, laughing, have some fun. But interesting moment though to talk about this game though is that earlier in the game though, there's a point where the main character starts searching up research for, whatever creepy, unorthodox shenanigans is going on throughout the game, and she ends up coming across some tall tales ghost stories. And the thing that makes me that kind of in a way kind of makes me laugh about this though is that all these tall tales are actually based on ghost stories that people have told before. They're not made up for the game, they actually existed. And
oh, really?
Some of these ghost stories, I mean, they're creepy. They're definitely send shivers down your spines. But I can't help but laugh at hearing some of them. So I'm not sure if it's just that the stories themselves aren't that creepy, or I'm just incredibly desensitized to the point where horrifying subjects just don't even scare me anymore. So maybe it's a little bit of both. But anyway, some of the stories we have is
Go ahead.
Okay, so one of the stories though is the story of one person who goes into a red room, and this red room's involved this one guy covered in a red cloak who asks you a question. Which paper do you want? The red paper or the blue paper? Choosing red will have you sliced up and all bloody like red. Choosing the blue paper will have them choke you to death until your face turns blue. How do you get out of this?
Whoa, what the?
Simple. Say purple paper. Well then he'll just beat you till you're purple. However,
oh god,
if you choose the no paper, the guy in the cloak will have no idea what to do, and then he kicks you out of the room, and then you're good. That's literally the tall tale. You get two choices. You end up going for a third option, and boom, you're out. That's it. That's the tall tale.
Whoa.
And I did not mean to hit plus on the keyboard.
Yeah, I got the message too.
Yeah. Anyway, the next tall tale is this. The next tall tale is what was it? Oh, I remember this one. This one's based off of computer viruses, though. There are a lot of creepypastas that are based on computer viruses, but there's one where he ended up going on this one website. It appears as just a red one with a basic border window, basically saying, "Welcome to to the XO website, whatever." It's a Valentine's Day website, just for example. You go there and you get a pop-up message. You see the pop-up message, and it basically means, "Welcome to the site." You click it out. It pops up again. You click it off. It pops up 3 times. You click it off. You click it off again. It pops up. Okay, you close out of the site. Then you get rid of the pop-up. It pops up again. Then you keep clicking it off. Rinse and repeat for about 2 minutes or so, and then your computer shuts off. Odd. So you turn the computer back on. Your screen is red. It says, "Welcome to the shop." And then you get transported to hell and die. That's it. That's it. That
was... I thought, like, is there more?
That was okay. Oh. Maybe it doesn't exactly go the way I described it, but yeah. That tall tale basically is just another one of those virus creepypastas where something goes wrong with your computer. You think it's no big deal. It turns out to be a big deal. You think your computer's screwed. No, not only is that, you're screwed, and then something bad happens to you.
Yeah, I remember this other one too called, I think it's a unknown.666. pretty much like a guy goes to like YouTube and then like he types username dot 666.
Oh, I heard about that. I've heard about that.
Yeah, it's pretty much this guy going into YouTube and he search up this username like known as 666, but then like I guess you get the message that user not found pretty much, or doesn't exist at all. So pretty much he just keeps kind of refreshing it until the whole YouTube page kind of just turns like unsettling and it starts start turning red and everything like that, until he comes across like a video, like, and then the username on the side of like the video would say 666, which is the username pretty much. So he clicks on it and just these unsettling videos and everything like that, and like freaking he tries to like close down the tab, can't. He tries shutting down the computer, but he can't. He tries unplugging his computer, but he couldn't. It's still on, still showing the video pretty much. And then pretty much he goes, I don't know, he just kind of like really scared, and then like I guess one of the video just kind of grabs him and just grabs him and stuff. And apparently, yeah, it's one of those creepypastas that apparently leaves a virus on your computer.
What will they come up with next?
All right.
Wait, was it? Wait. Is it this video? Hold on. I put it in the chat. Is it this video?
Let me see here. You put it on the actual chat. I thought you put it on my server. Yeah, it's that video. There's like it's that video. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah, watch at your own discreet.
I just want to say, like, just thinking about like a small little, intermission during this podcast, but I want to say, I'm just really curious to know how and where do these people go to come up with this kind of stuff? Like, where do these ideas come from? Do they just observe random things throughout their day lives? Just think about how they can just completely gut it and mangle it up and think, all right, that could work as a creepypasta story. I'm gonna write this down. Boom.
And this necessarily some of these creepypastas, they are scary. Some you think that, is this actually real? It's like, that's pretty much fake. Other ones are just outright really bad. And trust me, I know. I never really read so many bad ones, but I do know one that I should probably mention in the end of the video, because it will literally, it's not really scary. It's just downright stupid funny. But yeah, but I mean, yeah, these like, you would think, like, how did these come up with these stories pretty much? And some of these stories too, are just so very popular that apparently it's so popular that it spawns Flash games pretty much, depicting the creepypasta, even into a feature-length movie like Slender Man.
That's something I want to get into later on, but go ahead.
But anyway, my number 2 creepypasta, and this one I kind of had a debate on it because this is a video game series that pretty much is very, very popular, and I'm of course talking about Pokemon. There is in its own subject, pretty much known as Pokepastas, and
oh dear,
there's a lot of them. We got I had a hard time trying to pick one, pretty much. There's Pokemon Buried Alive, Pokemon Lost Silver, Hypno's Lullaby, but this specific Pokepasta, just still till this day, it's just wow.
Trust me.
Wow.
Trust me. The internet has. Sorry to interrupt, but I'll.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just want to say that the internet has found a way to horrify every single Pokemon that you know. You think?
Yeah.
You like Magikarp? Oh no, Magikarp is a sign from the devil. You like Doug? You like a Doug? You like a Diglett? Oh no, it's a singular connect. It has a one-way connection to hell. You like Abra? Nope. Teleports you straight to the abyss where no one can find you. You like Hypno? Oh, okay. Well, Hypno is not really creepypasta related, but Hypno.
Well, I mean, it does have its own creepypasta known as Hypno Lullaby, and it kind of like, takes one of the side missions from Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green and pretty much turns it into a creepypasta. And there's a flash game in there too, and it's just like, wow, dude, it's just, yeah.
And no Elliot as a Hypno.
Elliot is a Hypno. But yeah, but anyway, this one though, and this one I'm pretty sure is a very, very popular creepypasta. I would say my number 2 is like everything related to Pokemon, but that's just being lazy. So this one specifically, ladies and gentlemen, is called Lavender Town Syndrome.
Ah, damn! I knew that there was another one I wanted to talk about, and it was Lavender Town. Anyway, go ahead.
I kind of knew. I wanted to build up the hype of it, but yes, Lavender Town Syndrome. So Lavender Town Syndrome, or pretty much known as Lavender Town or Lavender Town Suicides, pretty much was a peak in suicide and illness of children between the ages of 7 and 12, short after the release of the original Pokemon Red and Green games in Japan back in February 27th of 1996. Rumors say that the suicide and illnesses only occurred after the children playing the game reached Lavender Town. And trust me, like, once you play the game, you're all happy-go-lucky, Pokemon catching, Pokemon battling, and everything like that. All these nice sounding tunes. You reach towns and routes and everything. But when you hit Lavender Town, and then that music starts playing, it just changes your whole mood from happy-go-lucky to just downright depressed. Like, pretty much the backstory of Lavender Town Syndrome is that there's this Pokemon Tower that's pretty much a cemetery for pretty much, that Pokemon that pretty much died. And pretty much, there's a lot of creepypastas related to Lavender Town. Pretty much. You got the one where, apparently you killed Gary's Raticate. And
God, people are not going to let that one die.
Yeah, and there's that one, and there's the Cubone's mother one. There's, I believe the White Hand creepypasta as well. And but Lavender Town Syndrome is the one that kind of sounds just, kind of a little bit true, because later on, a lot of people did find, the original sound, the sound tone of the original Lavender Town music. So pretty much what they wanted to, pretty much, I think, well, the original, they pretty much wanted to experiment on, pretty much, on when you put on your headphones. You know how, like, sometimes you turn on your headphones compared to, like, actual speakers, it sounds way more different and stuff. So pretty much they pretty much use this thing called binaural beats. Pretty much, when children from the age of 7 or 12 would play the game with their headphones, one sound comes from one headphone speaker to the other, pretty much. And, it's something with, and then, pretty much they hear like something else that, only ages from 7 to 12 would hear. And no one knows what it is, pretty much. And, sometimes, and sometimes, they say that, it gets to the point where some of these kids, they're just, get migraine attacks, either, just kind of get headaches, even to the point where, they feel like they need to commit suicide, pretty much, and stuff. Sometimes they'll just kind of stick their whole mouth, their fists into their mouths and stuff. And it's just, after that, I couldn't read anymore. I'm like, holy crap.
Pokemon is some dangerous stuff, I've noticed throughout the years.
Yeah, oh my gosh, dude. But there is, a video on YouTube where, the original song from Lavender Town from the original Pokemon Red and Leaf Green, like from the beta, is there. But again, you know, if you're above the ages of 7 and 12, then go for it. But, you know, of course, just don't have your kids around. I just don't want to know what happened. But of course, I believe that this kind of, apparently, I don't think this, you know, creepypasta is necessarily true, because, you know, if this was true, where, you know, it kind of leaves, you know, kids from that age pretty much wanting to commit suicide, hearing the songs pretty much, and, you know, all of a sudden, you know, just, you know, all of Japan's kids, you know, pretty much commit suicide. I think there would be pretty much a huge recall on the games where, you know, it got to the point where there would be no more Pokemon.
And that would be a pretty big deal, because I hear Pokemon is reaching up to the point that where it's becoming one of the top-rated, most successful franchises of all time. Even possibly bypassing Star Wars. It's that big.
Yeah. And if this specific story was true, then I don't think there would be no Pokemon whatsoever. But yeah. But again, there's a lot of CreepyPastas. I think that deserves a podcast discussion from another time. For another time.
Maybe next year. If there is a next year.
But anyway, what is your number 2?
I'm sorry about being rude to you right now.
No, it's all good. No worries.
But for my number 2...
Yeah.
Oh, dear God. Oh, gosh. Well, just to say that the amount of creepy shenanigans that have come out of Pokemon is a little too much for some people to bear. Myself included, I'll just say. But, anyway, to move on to the next... But to move on to, I guess, a bit more of a pleasant subject, funny enough, that's not Pokemon related. My next choice would be, and this one is, this one you may or may not recognize, though, because I actually did show you this, I think about a year ago. I think it was around the time. I think it was around the time, though, like when we first started voice chatting. I remember showing you a comic of this or whatever. So.
I try and remember. I don't remember.
Well, I've shown you a lot of things, and I haven't even described it to you, though, so, but oh well.
Yeah.
But anyway, this isn't really so much what I would call creepypasta-wise, as it is just horror-related. But in a way, though, it's sort of kind of like it sort of kind of parodies a lot of creepypastas and horror-related material, so I felt it was appropriate for the video. But anyway...
Oh, okay.
So, I got a few stories to tell about this one, but this goes on to a comic series that I actually used to read a lot, though, a couple of years ago, but a comic series called Irma. Let that sink in for a bit. But anyway, what Irma is that it is a comic series, a web comic series that's done in a very Sunday morning newspaper sort of fashion. You know those comic strips you read in the newspapers?
Like Garfield and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I read those. Well, I used to. I remembered actually, when I was in production class on high school, I remembered like our teacher made us pick a comic strip and make it just pretty much, and give us like, you know, let us rent out like a video camera, and pretty much, you know, we make like a little short clip, like a short movie, pretty much out of that, comic strip. But yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, that's kind of what it is. Though. It's structured like the comics you would see in a newspaper. But anyway. So the whole plot synopsis behind this comic strip of Irma, though, is that it's basically just another one of those, how would I describe it, though? Kind of one of those, you take sort of a wacky, unorthodox character and you put them in a regular, you put them in the real world. It basically asks the question of, what would happen if a ghost lived amongst civilization and nobody questioned it?
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what the whole comic strip is, though. It takes this character Irma, who's I think about a 6 to 8 year old girl, who's heavily based off the diva girl from The Ring. I forgot what her name was though.
Yeah.
But with the one with the long hair and the kind of droopy neck.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's heavily based on that, and it stars this character, and all she does is that she basically just lives a quote-unquote normal life. She lives a quote-unquote normal life, but the catch is she's a ghost. I wonder what kind of crazy shenanigans can come out of that. And a lot of the joke, and that's the basic synopsis. A lot of the jokes is, okay, let's see what kind of crazy scenario will happen in this. But the thing I felt was worth bringing up though in this creepypasta topic that we brought up for today is that a lot of these scenarios and situations that are brought up are actually, if you think about it, are actually kind of dark in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's this one series of comic strips. There's this one storyline, or I guess story arc I should bring up. There's this one story arc where Irma's parents are going out for dinner, and they hire a babysitter to go watch her. So they go out. The babysitter goes in, and since Irma figures this out, she decides to be a problem. Since a lot of kids for whatever reason feel to be a problem to the babysitters. So, throughout the entire night, the babysitter is spending the entire day thinking, okay, where's the kid? How am I supposed to babysit this kid? Mm-hmm. Where are you? And throughout the entire time, Irma just does whatever crazy, creepy trap she can. Basically does whatever she can to scare the living hell out of this babysitter. But the babysitter doesn't fall for it. She's aware of what's going on and says, okay, I know what you're trying to do. I know cups, and I know the furniture is flying. I know there are creepy dolls following me. I know my reflection is not there, and it comes back horrifying me. I know what you're trying to do, but it ain't gonna work, so sit down and behave. And it gets up to the point where Irma she goes so far, just tries everything she can. And no matter what she does, she just can't face this babysitter. It doesn't work. And eventually afterwards, the whole day goes by. It doesn't work. It doesn't. Oh God, I'm so bad at describing things.
It's all good. I am the same way.
Oh dear, I'm literally sweating right now. I'm so anxious right now. I'm just thinking, why can't I not describe things good? But anyway, case in point, she tries scaring the babysitter. It doesn't work. So the whole day goes by. She gets her to bed, though. The thing goes by. The parents come home, says, "Oh, how's everything goes? Oh, everything went by just fine. No problems there." And the parent says, "Oh, good. I thought we would have to look for another babysitter after this." And it says, "But what do you mean by that?" And then it cuts to a paneling where you see the last babysitter in a mental hospital who, muttering out words, she's at the walls, the mirrors, the ceiling, she's everywhere, and basically drove the last babysitter to insanity. Yeah, you kind of get what I mean. How this kid kind of just drove this person to, kind of drove them off the wall.
Yeah.
Okay, I know I'm probably not getting this clue though, but yeah, it's that kind of series though that it seems kind of lighthearted at first, but it in a way kind of has a not really somewhat subtle way of dealing with pretty dark subjects I should bring in. I haven't just go read the comic series yourself though. Like that's the best way I can say it though. I'm not doing a good job explaining it. Just go out and read it for yourself. It's way better. If you were to go ahead and read this and listen back to what I'm saying, you're thinking, oh, okay, I understand what he means. Okay, or I at least understand what he's trying to say. But yeah, it's a comic series with a horror aesthetic, but it's more of a comedy, funny scenario with some dark subject matter. That's basically the best way I can summarize it, so just go read it.
Alright.
Have I bored you already? I probably.
So
be honest. I'm boring you by this point, though. You're just thinking, okay.
No. It's fine. It's just like some of these ones are like more of like I never heard of these ones, pretty much. But no, you're not boring me.
Okay, I'm about to say, like, again, a lot of my advice is just go read it, though. Like, there's not a way I could put this into words about why I think this is good. Just go read it.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Like that's honestly what I could say too. Like, yeah, just go read it. I don't want to spoil it.
Continue on.
Anyway, so my number one creepypasta, and this one's kind of related to your number 5 one. All right, so this one is actually related to pretty much a story of a guy finding a lost copy of either a game or a movie or something like that, from their childhood. So and this, like much like Pokemon, this video game character actually gets a lot of creepy stories along with creepy pastas. I'm of course talking about the Sega mascot, the blue blur known as Sonic the Hedgehog.
Dang,
and
you,
of course,
you beat me to it. I was about to say it, but you beat
me. Yeah, there's ones called like the Tails doll creepypasta, but this one is actually the more well-known, not only well-known Sonic creepypasta, but also the more well-known video game creepypastas out there, pretty much. I'm of course talking about the infamous Sonic Dot Exe.
Title card.
What?
I was just making a joke.
Oh.
It's like, okay. Okay, Peter, just interrupt my conversations like that. Why do you ruin my intro, Peter?
No, I was waiting for you to say something. I'm like, is he gonna say something? Is he gonna say something?
But go ahead.
But all right, but anyway, so pretty much Sonic.exe is your typical guy who's pretty much a big fan of Sonic the Hedgehog, pretty much, and he goes on to explain that I really love the classic games, pretty much for the Sega Genesis or the Mega Drive if you live on the other side of that world, he also goes to explain that he gets a letter from a friend from school that he's not seen for maybe about 2 to 3 weeks, and pretty much there's a letter with a disc that just says Sonic, and pretty much the letter says destroy the disc. I can't catch up. He's too fast. Don't try to contact me at all and stuff. So pretty much he was just like, whoa, what the heck? So pretty much he sees the disc and everything, he's like really ecstatic. I'm like, oh my god, is it about Sonic the Hedgehog? So he pops in the disc and everything on his computer, and he goes and plays the original Sonic the Hedgehog, the first Sonic the Hedgehog game for the Sega Genesis, again, either the Mega Drive if you live in the other side of the world. And then it starts up, the traditional, Sonic menu, pretty much, where, the Sonic theme pops out like, doo, 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 doo. And then just there's a brief moment, though, in the intro, where in the image, there is, Sonic, from his traditional white eyes, just turns pitch black with, laser beamed red eyes with blood coming out, and the C turns blood red, and the trademark, the Sega, and it just says Sega 666. And then he goes into what looks like a character selection screen. You could choose either Tails, Knuckles, the Echidna, or Dr. Robotnik or Eggman, depending on what era you started playing Sonic. So he started off with Tails, and pretty much, Tails is just walking around Green Hill Zone with a very unsettling song, not compared to your own traditional Green Hill theme, pretty much. So he just walks around, just walks and walks until eventually he sees just, you remember those animals you kind of would see when you free them, in the end of every Sonic level. They're all dead, all over there, mangled bodies everywhere, pretty much. So then eventually Tails meets up with what looks like Sonic, but then he has his eyes closed, but he opens it. You can see the red beamed eyes, and then just out of nowhere, it says, what did he say again? I think it was like, hide and you want to play a game or something like that. And then pretty much it cuts to hide and seek act 1, and then pretty much like Green Hill is on fire and burning and everything. So you're running, pretty much running for your life until just Sonic pops out. And then he tries to catch Tails, and eventually he does. And then you just see right there kind of Tails like crying and everything. And like out of nowhere, you just see Sonic pop out and then pretty much, cuts Tails' throat. And I'm just like, what the hell?
Good night.
And I'm just like, whoa. But that's not over. So next up, he plays with Knuckles, and then pretty much the same thing with Tails. You just can't kind of keep walking and walking until you kind of see like there's blood all over the floor, pretty much, and then Knuckles kind of does encounter Sonic, and then I think he says another message, but I just don't remember pretty much. Again, I'm not going to go into food detail and everything, but then pretty much Knuckles tries to get Sonic pretty much, but unfortunately he couldn't because he keeps teleporting the other side all the time. And then pretty much eventually Knuckles gets tired, and then pretty much same fate with Tails. He gets beheaded by Sonic, and then pretty much the reader pretty much is just like at this point like, what the heck is going on? So next up he plays as Dr. Robotnik, and it kind of says just ... when every time you start up level, it kind of says Green Hill Zone Act 1 or Act 2 pretty much. So pretty much he's going down some stairs, and then eventually he does run into Sonic, but then instead of him being beheaded like the other two, there's just this screeching sound with the how like there you can't, the channel not found, where it's like pretty much.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then like it just goes until you see an image of Sonic, just his face all bloody, and then like smiling, and his smiling, his red, bloodshot, everything. And on top of the text, it says, I am God. I'm just like, whoa. And apparently there was an image of it too, and I'm just like, what the heck? So then it cuts out to just, you see Sonic just right there hanging with, all the heads of the characters that the writer had played, pretty much, on their heads on the spike. And I'm just like, what the hell? And that pretty much is the end of the story. Now, there is a flash game of the there is a flash game, but it's just not as the same as the story. But I remembered I played it and stuff, and it was pretty creepy and stuff. And I'm just like, wow. And till this day, it kind of gets updates on it pretty much. Updating the graphics, and pretty much changing the image of Sonic. On that title screen where he says that he is God and everything. And it's just like, wow, dude. It's one of those stories that literally just till this day, scares me every time, and like much like the Sonic community making all these fan photos and everything. Yeah, they're very creative with that, apparently. Go ahead.
Sonic EX. It's a story I've never read before, but it's something that I always feel though that when the time is right, I will eventually come across it. But
Yeah.
I, I just want to say though that as soon as you said "I am God," I was very, very, very tempted to mutter out the words.
You were?
I was very tempted to mutter out. Loki replies, "You will never be a god."
You should have.
I should have, but I didn't. I couldn't think of a good time to say that. But Sonic.exe, I don't know how to feel about it though. I mean, I'll eventually check it out though, but it's another one of those things though that just really captivates and catches a lot of people from just how unwillingly settling it is. Well, that and the Tails
Yeah.
doll from Sonic R, which for whatever reason people like to horrify that.
Yeah, yeah, that was debating either between that or that, but I think Sonic.exe is just one of those that are it's more creepier than just having your traditional, oh, like I'm playing a classic game and everything, and all of a sudden it kills me at the end, pretty much. So yeah,
Yeah.
but this one, Sonic.exe, kind of ends where like he just very unsettled, and it after that just kind of ends it without having like Sonic coming out of the damn TV, killing the writer pretty much or something like that.
That's what I never get about these stories is that I, I, I was playing the game. The game shut off. I looked closer. The character came out, pulled me, killed me, and that's it. It killed me. But I was still just alive to be able to publish the story on the internet.
Right. But
I don't know. That's just what always gets me about that. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, Sonic.exe might seem like your typical, oh my gosh, like find missing, cartridge of a game or a CD, and you're playing it, and all of a sudden it's just not the same as you remember, pretty much. Unsettling environments, everything blood everywhere and stuff. But this one, it still gets me. It really does. Even then, every time there's this guy who I think reads the story on YouTube, and the way he kind of just reads it, and like, wow, this guy's good.
Indeed. All right. Well, you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
All right.
So what is your number one creepypasta?
My number one creepypasta that I picked out was, and I'm going to be honest, I mean, I'm not sure whether or not to say I put a lot of thought into this, or if it was a no contest and I knew this one was going to be the best. But for whatever reason it may be, this right here, and I'll post this in the chat, by the way, our personal direct message chat, I may add. I'm going to post down what is our what my number one creepypasta is. And I just want to say right now, it's a video, and I want you to watch it. Is it okay with you? But it's a video, and I just want you to watch the video. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, I'll post it in the chat. Here it is.
All right.
This is my favorite one. All right, go ahead, play it.
All right.
I am so bored with these new games. I just wish that I could relive my childhood. The games from my childhood were so much better than the games from my not childhood. I set out to find my childhood once more.
My childhood once more.
I happened to be walking by a yard sale and I decided I would go take a look.
Oh my god.
Welcome, boy! Take a man I found wood.
This man looked like he knew what he was talking about. And then there it was! My childhood! I can see and touch my childhood!
Don't touch!
Don't touch.
It had to be my childhood. The only difference was that the label was scratched off. And written on it in evil black Sharpie were the words, "Uh-oh!" I did not care about the label, and I bought the game anyway, knowing that my childhood was going to be just as good as my childhood. I was so excited to get home and play my childhood. I ran into the building, and then I went up the stairs, and then I went into my room, and then I put it in the thing, and then I turned it on.
But when I turned on the game, it was a picture of me, dead.
God.
Dude, I'm in the video game!
I'm in the video game. Oh, that sums up every video game creepypasta.
Yeah, I kind of took my analogy of creepypastas. Okay, generic bad video game creepypastas from this video, but yeah, I don't care if it doesn't count. That's got to be my favorite creepypasta. To me, it's silly, it's nonchalant. It just takes the whole idea of people not doing it very well, and it just has fun with it. It's not.
It sums up pretty much every creepypasta.
Every badly written creepypasta. It's not foreboding. It's not meaningful. Or it's not meaningful or foreboding or innovative or anything like that. It's just a story. It's just fun.
Yeah. Oh man, and it really, like, especially bad creepypastas. There's one creepypasta, like, I know that I said that we were going to talk about worst creepypastas because we don't want this video to drag on for too long and stuff, but this one kind of just has to be mentioned. It's Metal Gear Solid creepypasta. It's so bad.
Oh no. Okay, wait.
It is so bad. Let me give you the link so we can read it together.
You want to read it? Okay. That's fair.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure everyone got scared pretty much talking about these really scary creepypastas. So let's just, have a really fun group reading and stuff. I'll read a paragraph, you read another paragraph.
Oh, okay. So when there's like a space that breaks it off. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much and stuff.
Okay. You can go ahead first.
Alrighty then. So pretty much this creepypasta is known as Metal Gear Solid's Fate. So pretty much it's about this person that was born in Panama. Pretty much, he, of course, with every immigrant, coming to America, they have a kid that's born into American, pretty much. He wasn't fully born American. He was born in Panama and stuff, but he came to the States pretty much, like any immigrant would need, better life and everything like that. And, he kind of gives us a note saying, I'm not fully American, born in Panama, and made some mild or borderline minor grammar errors. The name is Jeremy, by the way. So pretty much the story goes like this. So, all right.
Will you do the honors?
I will do the honors. So, summer has begun, school's out, great report card, celebration after school, and money, cha-ching. I am fairly poor teenager, always broke and always willing to make money. So after summer began, my friend offered me if I wanted to sell marijuana.
Oh my god. He's a drug dealer.
He's a drug dealer.
This kid's got no future. He's screwed.
So yeah, this like as soon as you hit marijuana, then it's just wow. Anyway, or front to me so that we can make some extra bucks for the summer. Well, has this guy not heard a summer job? Apparently not. So eventually he becomes a drug dealer. Of course, I did not think anything of it because all I was on my mind was the Metal Gear Solid HD collection for the PS3. By the way, I did do an unboxing of the Metal Gear Solid HD collection. The link will be in the bottom below. Advertising.
Nice.
Cha-ching! Since I've been a fan since as a baby, Metal Gear Solid has been my favorite game of all time and still is. So apparently he was playing Metal Gear Solid when he was a baby. Not once has this ever changed or even will. A couple weeks came by and I have been making hundreds of dollars, and to that reason is I had someone to teach me how to sell and choose out targets and how to flip. Just just basically making more money using my silver tongue and being great scam artists. During this time, I had forgotten my main goal. To the people I sold to, the ones I like, the ones I made good deals without scamming, always would let me smoke with them. They were fun, creative, creepy, and loved video games with a burning passion. They were my people. They also knew ways to get games cheap so they could hook me with a man that likes to steal from a local GameStop. Now, okay, you're making hundreds of dollars, pretty much being a drug dealer. How could you not go to a GameStop and afford the game?
Um,
Like
those drugs gotta come. Those drugs gotta come from somewhere.
right? And GameStop and everything he had were just CDs without cases. It was fine with me. Now I have like over 100 games and still not done with half of them. And you couldn't even buy one of them with those hundreds and hundreds of dollars. But of course, Metal Gear Solid HD Collection was the hardest thing to get. No, duh, because... Okay, real quick. All right, GameStop, and I don't necessarily have worked at GameStop, not yet. By any chance, I don't know if I plan to work there, after hearing all these bad reps on, former employees and everything. But I used to have a friend that worked at a GameStop pretty much. And, they put just the cases on the shelves, And if you wanted the new game, you would have to ask them for it, or or if for some reason, they just kind of just put the case on the shelves pretty much without the disc. So I don't know how this guy got the CDs without the cases when they keep the CDs inside the drawers locked, and every GameStop employee would have keys pretty much, just in case if anyone wants to get a game. So yeah, they just get the disc out of there, and yeah, or kind of like the full case pretty much. So I don't necessarily how guy got the CDs from GameStop. I don't know. But anyway, reading on. You want to continue with the next paragraph?
Yes. Okay. But of course, Metal Gear Solid HD Collection was the hardest to get. But at least I got it. Oh my god. Oh dear, it's one of those kind of written stories. I'm expecting at least a few Mary and Gary Sues in this story that inexplicably have everything going right for them until something bad happens, but they just manage to get past it. Anyway. I received this game when school started again, and I was noticed as a notorious drug dealer by now. And I was noticed... Oh, okay, that's fine. And I was noticed as a notorious drug dealer by now, which was very bad for me because all I wanted was a game, not attention. Drug dealers to all kids at school made me seem cool and made me a very popular kid. All the women wanted me, but then I do not care for them too much. That sounds a little too perfect if you ask me. I was a drug dealer and all the women wanted me, even the conscientious objectors and humanitarians. I completely butchered that, but you get what I mean. I just... Go ahead. Okay.
You go ahead. You continue. I'll read the next paragraph.
I just wanted to play Metal Gear Solid. This did not give me a chance to play Metal Gear Solid. People texted me constantly, asking for pictures or some marijuana, wanting to chill. Most of them were swag bags and sluts, so I was ignoring them, and this made me cooler, and I just couldn't do it anymore. Okay, after this. I skipped school for 2 weeks and turned off my phone, stayed at a place with one of my great friends, and I smoked with all the time. Finally, Bliss in a trailer park. Who would have known? For 2 weeks was my best friend in his trailer, playing MGS1, MGS2, MGS3, MGS4, MGS Ghost Babble. I probably butchered that.
Ghost Babble.
Babble.
Yeah,
Sorry, reading is not my strong suit. Oh well. MGS Ghost Babble, MGS Portable OPS, MGS Peace Walker, MG. Okay.
MG2.
MG2 before MGR, all doing this while I was high. It was probably the best time ever. What? Okay.
So pretty much what you say, MG and MG2, this was before it became Metal Gear Solid. So those are the classic Metal Gear games for the MSX
Okay. The
computer
acronyms.
operating system. Yeah. But anyway, Metal Gear Solid 3 has been my favorite played it most time. Well, okay, you don't really make sense there. Beat it every 2 days after I beaten all the rest. I got bored of Metal Gear Solid. Then this is usually the part where I'm supposed to scream. I did wrong waiting for months to play it again.
I did wrong waiting for months? What?
I don't know what this guy's grammar so bad, but at least he has the audacity to let us know beforehand.
Oh, okay, I appreciate that.
I forgot all about all my friends that I hung out with, was hanging out with the sluts, swag fags, and I even almost turned into one. What, the swag fag or the slut part?
Either or, by the context of this, either or seems pretty likely.
Almost every day I would be effing some girl. Lust went through my head. Oh my god.
Too edgy for me.
Let's just put it this way. Shrek was love, Shrek is life. Anyway, moving on. My grades dropped. Lost sense of a video game euphoria.
Euphoria?
I was I guess.
Euphoria? Something like that. I don't know.
Something like that. I was a shithead douche. Later on, my friend stayed out for those 2 weeks. Had died. Wait, what? Wait, what?
Wait.
Later on, my friend I stayed over for those 2 weeks had died.
So his friend that he spent time with died? Is that what he means to say?
I really don't know. This is where it kind of gets really bad. Had died. Always trying to call me to play Metal Gear Solid again and smoke on some good marijuana. I said no every time. He died smoking with his PlayStation controller in hand with Metal Gear Solid 3 when he is in his jail cell. So he was allowed to play PlayStation when he was in jail.
And smoke marijuana, apparently.
This is the day I decided to visit my friend, and I saw him pale with an eye patch on his left eye with a bandana. I said, "Holy shit, dude, that's so cool." He gave me a glance, smiled, and his head fell. Oh, God.
His head fell. His head literally just fell off. His head literally fell off. Oh my god! His head literally fell off after he glanced and smiled at him. Okay.
He's like,
okay.
He's like, "What's up, dude?" I look at the screen and I see Snake looking straight at him with a cigar in his mouth. The flame on the cigar was intense. Snake's health was not decreasing and it was full. Johnny was outside of the cell laying on the floor with a bandana with a burned Z. My friend's name was Zachary on his back. He was very bloody, of course, not trying to be cliche. Oh, trust me, dude. You're getting that part very, very clearly. But I know instantly what was going on. Something was not right. I turned off the PlayStation and fell straight to the floor. I bursted into tears. I couldn't believe what was going on. I was framed for his death, but they not found me not guilty. I was free to go. Okay, so you're framed for his death, found guilty. Could have just... I really don't freaking get it. But anyway, go ahead.
There are probably 100 ways to analyze how this story does not make any sense whatsoever. But hey, I'm not going to be that person to tell you why. All right.
It's just one of those stories that kind of just like put the... Oh, okay. Hi. But anyway, go ahead, bro. Go ahead and read the next part.
Oh dear, I should have offered this story to my friends.
You should.
Okay, I'm ready. Okay. I became an antisocial and weird. Wait, I became antisocial and weird. Okay, that was correct. That story didn't fuck it up. All right, I became antisocial and weird. It is hard enough for me to write this, reliving the day I visit him when a video game killed him some way. This was almost 2 years ago, if you didn't capitalize that D. A couple months back, I received Metal Gear Solid back, a new copy with the case. I played it, cried almost every time trying to play this game after slitting every guard's throughs.
I think he meant throat. So I don't think you could slit someone's thought.
He's slitting every guard's thoughts. They can't think anymore. While seeing a spew of blood fly in the air, I was at least happy. Cool. What?
Again, we're not, making this up. We're literally reading how this guy put it. When we say swag fag, we don't really mean it. We're just saying it how he's saying it. So, apologies for those we kind of offend.
Apologize to any swag fags out there.
You all deserve to die. I'm just kidding. You are what's wrong with this generation. Anyway,
Okay.
One day I came back from school. I wanted to play Metal Gear Solid. I noticed another save. I thought my dad wanted to try it out since he said it looked like a good game, but I was wrong. I click on it. I see the same exact scene from when my died. But Snake was pale, and the face almost looked structured like my old friend. I started bailing my fucking eyes out, screaming, "Why?" After a few moments, I went insane. I looked at the screen, and I said, "It's nice to see you." After this, it went straight to the codec. His picture was of me and him smoking a joint together. Oh my god.
Mind if I continue the rest? Wait, how about we both read this synchronized?
Yeah, let's do it. So you go first and I read the.
All right.
Oh wait, who's I think. Okay, I think it's all right, yeah. So I guess you and then me, you and
Okay. So fate.
I hope my fate is with you soon. We will be able to slit someone's thoughts soon.
I have been with you for a while. You just haven't seen my face till now so clearly.
I want to be with you again.
Find a box. Then we will be together. For no, I have to show Snake his fate to make you room.
Oh my god. I'm sorry. Okay, he kind of does a little confusion here. I'm sorry if this makes no sense whatsoever. Not whatsoever. Once-soever. Went insane. I'm trying to put the voices I heard, but it is harder than. I almost committed suicide on the spot after what he said. A strange frequency played, and I went all crazy.
Then I figured out CreepyPasta. Oh, okay. I thought he was saying that out of context. Then I found out CreepyPasta on YouTube, and I figured I'm not the only one that was experiencing things. But for some weird feeling, I had a feeling that I am to join Zachary in this game. But I'm not so sure if I'm scared or not. But I will wait until this day comes. Alive or live Metal Gear Solid.
I will update this with all I can starting tomorrow. I will try to go further than what I can do. Thank you. Yeah, you kind of, forgot to update us.
Yeah,
Or
and thus the story was never continued.
yeah, this is just one of those really bad creepypastas that surprisingly didn't get so much any recognition whatsoever. If you literally look this up on like YouTube, there's like a one video of a person kind of who reviews really bad creepypastas, who pretty much explains it, like what was wrong with it, and there was really so much wrong with it. So, besides all the grammar and everything, he becomes a drug dealer. He earns like this so much money, but yet he knows somebody that goes to GameStop and pretty much steals all these games, when he could literally use those hundreds of dollars he's earned and pretty much buy them legally. So I'm like, why not buy them legally, man? Why do you got to have somebody steal it for you?
It's not edgy enough if you make him buy illegally.
Right? Not edgy enough. So we gotta have somebody in the story to like steal it.
It doesn't work out well enough unless you make it sound very deep and beautiful and just saying to everyone, I don't respect the law. I do what I want. I am the... I don't know where I was going with that.
But yeah, there's some good ones. There's some bad ones. Definitely ones that don't get a lot of recognition, but definitely deserve a read and stuff. And for that, I say go nuts, because when I've discovered creepypastas, I just, it took me to this world of like, of like what could be real or what cannot be real, You be the judge of it pretty much. But
exactly.
Yeah. And of course, there's some other ones that, we wanted to list down that I think kind of deserves an honorable mention pretty much. For me, I'm just going to say like 5, pretty much not explaining, the story, but definitely need a good listen. So, for my honorable mentions, there's Pokemon Lost Silver, Hypno's Lullaby. There's also there's the Tails doll creepypasta. There's the which one was it? There's the Jeff the Killer, and there's this other one relating to what is Chuck E. Cheese. Apparently, like the animatronics is like very haunted to the point where one of the animatronics comes to this person's house. This one's given the inspiration to pretty much Freddy, Five Nights at Freddy's pretty much. So yeah. And there's, like I mentioned before, there's a lot of Pokepastas that I really do want to talk about, but that's another conversation, that's another podcast conversation for another time. But yeah. But another one also, is of course Band Drown pretty much, and it's relating to Legend of Zelda and stuff. And yeah, and I think that's pretty much it. All my honorable mentions right there.
All right, that's all you got?
Yep, that's all I got.
All right. Well, that's all I got to really say, though. I mean, creepypastas, though, whether or not you try to give them a meaning or just want it to be a story for fun, creepypastas will have their place on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, you got
and Herobrine. That's another one. Herobrine. That's another good one, too.
All right, so you got anything else? Or if not, I'm going to end the video.
Yeah, I think I pretty much said what I needed to be said, but yeah, again, give them a listen, again, if you're very easily scared, then, kind of read the more non-scarier ones, but if you really just want to investigate and everything, then definitely do it. But I recommend you guys, and I'm being very serious about this too, do not. Whatever you do, you can. I know many of you guys are not going to listen to me. Do not read these stories at night, because it will literally keep you up. Read them during the day, maybe the afternoon, not during the late night. because yeah, that's not gonna go so well.
Uh,
But yeah, that's all I gotta say.
well, well, you know what? I was just about to say, I was about to go read some of these creepypastas you mentioned. But since you said that, I'll take your advice, because gosh forbid I don't want I don't want your warning to be in vain.
No, dude, you just really don't. I mean, you can, but at your own discretion.
It's a recommendation, a heavy recommendation.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what we all gotta say. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any topics you want us to bring up, though, list them in the comments below. And as always, have a good day.
Because we're literally losing like what topics to say.
Ghost Man, get in here and bring up some topics to bring up.
I don't care if it's Spider-Man or Smash Brothers. We need you.
We need you're the flame that keeps this train going.
Alrighty then, everyone. Well, everyone have a great rest of your October, and if you're watching this during Halloween, have a great happy Halloween, everyone.
Happy Halloween.